Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare video. In tonight's video, we're going to be going through each and every single one of the 6 submachine guns in this game as of right now and giving my best attachments and class setups for each of them. We're going to go through and talk about the attachments in order here, and then towards the end of the video break down more on perks, lethals, and tacticals, secondaries, maybe some stuff like that. If you guys could drop a like on this video, let's go ahead and go for 752 likes. That would be incredible if we could hit that. Smack that like button, only takes a second. Also subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed, and let's go ahead and break it down. Now the first one here, we're going to just go in order of unlocked for these submachine guns, is the Auger. Now the Auger is an interesting weapon because it is a submachine gun, but the way that you play it, because of the fact that the 5.56 ammo, if you play it normally, you get 9mm ammo, and you can get, your normal magazine size or up into a 32 round mag. But the thing is, the 5.56 ammo got a pretty big buff on it in a hotfix update right before 1.09, and that is now definitely the way to go with this Auger. I made a full video talking about different Auger class ups because there's a lot of ways you can take it, but this is one that I like as of right now. Monolithic suppressor, the barrel, you go with the 407mm extended, or you can go with the 622 if you really want to go for more of a longer range map. You're playing shoot house, gun runner, hackney yard, a smaller setup. You want to use a smaller barrel, of course, 407, and then you don't lose the movement speed. But if you want to go all in, I mean, you can noticeably see the difference in the size of the barrel. The 622mm is a lot better for longer ranges, and because this is a hybrid weapon that plays sort of like an AR, that is a way to go. Of course, sleight of hand definitely on this weapon, and the 5MW laser I find is so nice to keep it feeling like, because this thing is an SMG, you don't necessarily need to run a stock on it like you would with every assault rifle, so it frees up another attachment. And the 5MW laser is really nice for getting your gun up quick and also being able to hipfire enemies, because the hipfire is pretty good on this weapon because it is still an SMG traditionally. Also, if you want to take this weapon, let's say make it, more of a closer range setup, going less into longer range, you could take the suppressor off and you could double up on speed ups going with the stippled grip tape and the 5MW laser. That's another way you could take it if you're looking for a more fast setup, but I do like the monolithic suppressor on this weapon. So a bunch of different setups you can go with this thing, but definitely the key is the 5.56 ammo and using this thing as a hybrid AR and SMG. Next is going to be the P90, and I love the P90. This one I always call it the get your gun up fast, class it up, because this is a weapon that the aim down sight speed, the sprint to fire speed, just everything is so quick on this weapon, and because of this class up, the only thing that slows it down a little bit is the 10.6-inch barrel. You can go all in with a bigger barrel, but I find it's really not worth it. This is a weapon that's made for rushing, for hip firing, for getting up close and spraying people down and getting your gun up fast. So everything around this class up is basically designed with that. The 5MW laser, which is very, very nice. It does have a con to it, which is the fact that it's very visible, the laser, to enemies. However, if you're rushing, if you're, not really, the class stepper, if you're using this laser, it's not designed for crouch walking slowly around a corner. It's designed for going all in and, jump shotting, sprinting around corners, and, I mean, that's not necessarily sprinting around corners if it's dangerous, but probably jumping around the corner into a spray or something like that. You don't just want to sprint around the corner like a chicken with your head cut off or you're going to die, but 5MW laser speeds you up. The stock fly trap and more sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed. This is deadly. It's not often, certain stocks in this game, like a skeleton stock and other things, are super duper strong or overpowered, and this is one of them, the fly strap. You lose aiming stability, who really cares? It's a rush happy SMG, and you get sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed, which is strafe speed, amazing. And then of course the stippled grip tape as well to speed it up. On the underbarrel you also have options, but the stippled grip tape here slows you down pretty hard for more recoil control, which I don't find to be too much of an issue using this thing of course at closer ranges. And the last thing here is sleight of hand, which I find is nice because of course you can see we got 3 things speeding this weapon up, 1 to make it steady, and I guess sleight of hand would be the 4th to speed it up. However, it does have 50 rounds in a magazine, which is a strength of a P90, so you don't necessarily have to run sleight of hand. If you want to slow it down a little bit more, you could take off sleight of hand and swap it out for the monolithic suppressor, but I find that for the get your gunny up fast, class it up, this is absolutely awesome, and honestly I think a really underrated setup in this game. A lot of fun and gives the traditional feel of, in a game where there's a lot of slowdowns and punishments for using certain attachments, this sort of breaks free of all of that, and your only slowdown is -1 to an ADS speed, which is made up for 10 times over almost with all the other buffs. So I love the P90 class up, absolutely amazing. Now, probably the best setup overall for an SMG in this game. By the way, I made a video, was it yesterday or the day before, ranking all of the best SMGs in this game, basically going through and talking from the number 6, the worst SMG, up through 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up to the best SMG. And the MP5, this setup is deadly. stability. This setup is pretty standard. There's only one decision really that you have to make. First is 10mm ammo. This is a major key. Now, you do only have 30 rounds in a magazine, so you will need sleight of hand pretty much all the time if you're not going with the 45 round mag, but it's still pretty self-explanatory. Damage and range, you lose fire rate and aiming recoil control. However, the fire rate, sort of made up for with the damage and the range. It has around the same time to kill up close, but of course, way better time to kill and damage at range on those mid to longer range fights, which isn't that far away for an SMG. And losing the aiming recoil control, I think that's a lot more controllable because it's just a bounce pattern. Now, stippled grip tape to speed this thing up, sleight of hand 100%, 10mm ammo is the key. Then for stock, I like to rock with the collapsible, speeding yourself up for the movement speed and ADS speed. If you don't want to give up so much as far as aiming stability and recoil control, you could take it another way and just go ahead and slap on a stock or slap on a quick draw here, but I just love having the movement speed. I think that's what's so good about SMGs. If you're going to use them, you might as well have that really quick movement speed, especially on a game where a lot of ARs feel kind of slow. Next is the decision that you have to make, which is between, do you want to run the monolithic integral suppressor, which gives you sound suppression and bullet velocity in exchange for ADS speed, or do you want to swap that out and go with the traditional monolithic suppressor for sound suppression and damage range? I think this one, it just all depends, and it depends on what are you going to be taking on more mid to long range fights or more close range fights. If when I was using this class setup in ground war or in a 10v10 or something, I would probably use the monolithic suppressor. But however, since I've been playing a lot of shoot house or smaller situations where there's also some other, there's a lot of good options here under the barrel, to be honest. Like the subsonic is good as well, but I just really do enjoy the monolithic integral suppressor for that bullet velocity and the sound suppression. It does come out pretty nice and create a really good setup for this MP5. This is one that I like to run, but traditionally you want to stick with these three the same and then maybe customize your two up top. Next is going to be the Mini Uzi, which in my opinion is a really weak SMG in this game. Just based on the raw statistics of the time to kill, this weapon is fairly weak. And the thing about the Uzi is you can sort of design a class setup for this. I haven't found the perfect setup yet, and I'm still experimenting a little bit, but definitely going with sleight of hand with the stippled grip tape, which is standard. You see it all the time on SMGs because it's just look, giving up stability for aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. It's pretty self-explanatory unless you're using a submachine gun that has just ridiculous recoil that you hate on, which isn't really the case in a lot of the time in this game. You'd want to stick with that stippled grip tape. Next is going to be the no stock, which I like to use, movement speed and ADS speed. This is a weapon where you have the time to kill is slow. You're going to be at a disadvantage, so you need to get your gun up fast. You need to be the first one to fire in your gunfights, or you're going to lose the majority of them. And that's why I like to go with the no stock, and then the 5MW laser, which is clutch. Combining that with the stippled grip tape really does have a get your gun up fast setup. And then also when it comes down to the barrel, usually I've been rocking with the 13.1 inch, for the most part, playing shoot house, but this thing did get buffs on its damage at range. So if you want to take advantage of what is actually decent or good on a weapon that personally I don't think is really that good overall, you could go ahead and slap on the 16.5 inch and be able to have the recoil control, which does come in kind of handy because this gun does have a little more bounce to it than some of the other submachine guns. Or if you want to just stick with the standard, I probably wouldn't recommend going all in with the movement speed and ADS speed with the factory, but you could go with the 13.1 inch or the 16.5 inch depending on range of gunfights you're taking. The cool thing is you can adjust setups mid-game. So maybe you start off the game with this and you're like, damn, this weapon feels kind of a bit too slow. A lot of these gunfights I'm taking on close range is not really helping me out. You can then just swap mid-game and edit your loadouts mid-game to what you want to see, but that's the class up I rock with for the Mini Uzi. Next is the PP19 Bizon, and with this gun, I feel like it can either feel like one of the most amazing guns, or it can feel like, damn, I'm getting just wrecked by people with the MP5 and MP7. This gun is sort of, I don't know if you could say inconsistent. I find that it's really good at close range and jumping around and having that 64 round magazine, but sometimes at mid to long range, it feels like you're shooting a super soaker, shooting water bullets at enemies, and that's why this setup that I like to run with it. I've been still experimenting with this one, but the main things are you want to run the stippled grip tape. Sleight of hand is an option on this one, but you don't need it because of the 64 round magazine, which is rare. Most of the SMGs you're just going to run the stippled grip tape on. Next, I go with the Corvus skeleton stock, which I talk about like the fly trap, whatever, for the P90. The skeleton stock is much like a hybrid mags from BO4. If it's available, you're going to want to take it most of the time. Aim walking movement speed speed and ADS speed. You're getting quick draw, stock, and some sort of marathon lightweight with the move. Well, I guess you could say just lightweight, not necessarily marathon. So stock, lightweight, and quick draw for the OG Call of Duty players. Very nice to get out of one attachment and really helps this thing out. I find that the 5MW laser, I've been just falling in love with this weapon on SMGs. At first, I was sort of turned away from it because of how much it gives away your position. But if you're running the game, running fast pace, this thing is such a key. And the hip fire accuracy is nice with this weapon. Next, because you don't have to run sleight of hand, you only have one down here at the bottom. You don't need extended mags either because, wait, I need 84 rounds? Not really. I already have 64, right? What can you do with 84 that you can't do with 64? Get a 10-man multi-kill? I mean, who really knows? So I like to go with, as far as the barrel, it's a tough decision here with the barrel. Usually you want to go with the polygonal instead of the steel, just for the same reason I go with on other weapons. You know, you don't want to slow yourself down too much for extended range, or else it's like, why are you using an SMG in the first place? So slowing down the ADS speed a little bit, not that big of a deal, especially when the hipfire is so deadly on this weapon, combined with 64 rounds, combined with the 5MW. And then the monolithic suppressor I find is really nice and gives me the good old vibes of like the PP90 from Modern Warfare 3, which was so fun to use, dropping Moabs, single Moab, double Moab, triple Moab with that PP90, and this one definitely gives that old vibe to it. I wouldn't say this is my favorite SMG in this game, but it's one that you can go on some really nasty streaks with and have a lot of fun with. So this is the setup I've been rocking with lately as far as the PP19 Bizon. And the last SMG we have to go through, last but definitely not least in this game, is the MP7. Now, for the MP7, the class setup is very interesting and honestly really good overall. Stippled grip tape, sleight of hand, pretty standard stuff you'll see on it. Now, no stock with this one is similar to the MP5, as I stick with no stock the majority of the time. However, if you do feel like, because this is a weapon that the MP7, it really is stable and known for its ability to pick people off at range, especially if you think of like an MP7 from Modern Warfare 3, which was definitely at its peak. The weapon was insane. No stock is definitely the way to go because you want to speed up your SMGs. However, if you hate the penalties and you hate the recoil control and aiming stability penalties, which aren't that big, you could go with a stock where you just have to give up aiming stability. However, I like no stock just for the speed ups. It all depends on personal preference, but those are two good options you can go with as far as that. For the most part, I stay with no stock. And then when it comes down to the barrel, with the barrel, basically it's between the strike and the recon. The recon is a little bit of a more powerful barrel for the fact that it controls the recoil. They're around the same size as you can see from the graphic, but this one will give you a little more recoil control and cost of movement speed. Personally, I don't find that that's really worth it unless you're playing like ground war, something really, really long range, because this weapon already, the recoil isn't too bad. It melts people. It has decent iron sights. I'd say probably, I guess the default sights probably aren't as good as they were in MW3, but they're pretty good overall, and I like to just stick with the strike. I find that it's a little bit overkill sometimes to go with the recon. However, you are costing yourself movement speed, so if you have the no stock, you know, if I'm doubling up here, you can kind of afford to do it. However, I personally wouldn't. And then the monolithic suppressor, as far as the last attachment, I think is a key on this, having damage range, because of the fact that the MP7 is known for its really fast fire rate and ability to melt people up close, hip fire ADSing, but also it's easy to control and it works well with the silencer and with damage at range. Really, really good setup. Honestly, with this one, like all class ups are changing over time, but this is one that's pretty much stayed the same for me since almost I don't know since day one, but since early in the game's life cycle, this one's pretty much stayed the same because it can be absolutely deadly. Also, if you wanted to swap this out, you want to go all in on close range, of course, it's pretty self-explanatory. This one doesn't help you. It only helps you at close range for the silencer. The damage range doesn't help you at close range, helps you at mid to long range. ADS speed and aim walking steadiness does hurt you a little bit. You can slap on the 5MW and go all in, or even if you want to go with the tac laser so you're not as visible except when you're aiming down sights. I just really think that the this for more of a longer range setup, but for SMGs, the 5MW laser is just really, really good, and I find works well. So if you want to make it more close range, as you can see, it's like a mini MP7 setup here, or the standard setup that I pretty much always use with the monolithic right there. Now, as far as what comes down to with the secondary, I usually want to use the 357 or the Desert Eagle. Those are probably the best secondaries as of right now. You can also just use, a launcher or whatever you want for that. But as far as perks, now with an SMG, most of the time for ARs, I say EOD or Overkill, pretty much that's all for your perk 1 slot. Now with SMGs, you actually open up 2 new options, which are Double Time and Quick Fix. Quick Fix is nice, the 3 seconds reduced healing time, especially in a game that you heal so damn slow. However, for the most part, I stay away from Quick Fix because I like to use these Tactical Stim Shot, which gives you 2 of these stims plus you're resupplying every time with the ammo crates, and usually on these SMG setups, you would go double with the ammo crate and dead silence as the double field upgrade. Stopping power can be awesome, but it's more, I mean, dead silence running around and cycling through those dead silences, because every time you get a kill, it resets, is a major key on SMGs. So yeah, definitely EOD still probably the best perk one, but double time on a bigger map, or if you want to use that crouch movement speed after the sounds, the footstep changes, which there's still more to come, I believe, and quick fix. Those are some more options that open up for SMGs, but still EOD is the way to go. Perk number 2, I find that Ghost is very effective. Ghost and High Alert are pretty much what I stick to. On ARs, I'll use more Kill Chain sometimes or Restock, but on SMGs, it's mostly Ghost or High Alert, depending on if I want to stay more low-key or just challenge people straight up. Hey, show me when you're looking at me, I'm gonna take you out. That sort of mentality with the High Alert. And then perk 3 honestly stays very standard with tune-up because of the fact that I like to be able to get, running the double upgrades, you want to have your ammo crates going, especially if you're getting on streaks, because the ammo crates are important to resupply your lethal and your tactical, which is the most important for the stim shots, and of course your ammo, which is even more important than stim shot. You need ammo, or else you're going to be picking up other people's weapons, which might be, you know, weird setups or whatever, and then tune up just to be able to refresh those as quick as possible, 33% quicker on the dead silence, and the ammo crate or whatever field upgrade you're going for is very, very helpful. Other options here are, I guess, Battle Harden and Tracker, which I say are sort of your tier 2 options on ARs, but most of the time on SMGs, I stick with tune-up. On ARs, I'm more likely to go with a Battle Harden or a Tracker, just because, you know, with AR, you're probably going to be posted up more where they can stun you out, and with SMGs, the tune-up to get that dead silence is so damn important. Anyway, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you could drop a like on this thing, that would be absolutely incredible. Go ahead and smack that like button. For the lethals, I've been rocking mainly just Claymore, but you can go whatever you want. A lot of people love the proximity mine nowadays, especially after the Claymores has gotten its nerfs, or just running C4. I mean, there's a lot of good equipment in this game, and that's, of course, one of the reasons why I say EOD is the best perk in this game as of right now. Like, EOD and Ghost are side by side, really, really good perks. Anyway, drop a like if you made it to the end of the video. Comment down below your favorite submachine gun in the comment section down below, whether it's the MP7, whether it's the Uzi, whether it's the MP5, whatever it is, comment that down below. Check out my video upload the other day where I ranked through all these SMGs. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and that's about it. I'll catch you on the next one, and I'm out. Peace.